Mackenzie Brand, and I teach first grade in room 9, so some of you may know me. I'm so glad you all are here. This is the first time Sedgwick is doing a presentation for our English learners' families. On my email, you saw that you were invited to this if your child is an English learner, and the purpose of this presentation is to give you more information about how your child will be learning English in school and what services they will have. Okay? The first point I want to make is about balancing home language and English. And this is a great book that I recommend everyone check out from their library called I Hate English, and it's a great, I know, but it's a great book about a little girl who moves from China, and she is balancing her Chinese identity and adjusting to school in America, and how that is so hard for our kids. And so that is a great book to check out. Do I need it?
So that is a fabulous book to read, and I think it really clues you into how your child is feeling. I should say this whole presentation is being recorded, and the slideshow will be online, so you can access it on our school website tomorrow, the next day. Okay? So one of the important parts is that we want our students to know that we honor their home language. We encourage our students to talk in their home language at school, to share their culture, to share anything special about their home identity. And we're really proud of our diverse community. If you're new to Sedgwick, we have events later in the school year, International Night, and different ways to celebrate all of our many cultures. And even though our school uses English curriculum, we still encourage lots of languages, but one of our goals is for every student to become proficient in English, as that is the curriculum we use. There are two types of language acquisition. So there's social language and academic language. And social language is the language of the playground. And that usually takes about 1 to 3 years. Your children pick it up very quickly. And every child is different. Some, they're talking right away, communicating with their peers in English. Some it takes a little longer. At school, the teachers will support the students in their social language by helping them talk with peers, helping them form full sentences, giving them common phrases. And you can support your child at home by organizing play dates with children who speak different languages, putting them in dance and soccer and sports, any kind of opportunity for them to practice social language. Another way that's been proven to be extremely helpful is actually watching TV with English captions. That has a lot of research behind it as a really helpful way to acquire language. Another way is for children to listen to books as they read along, and I have some resources for you later for some audio listening. And above all, we just encourage your child to talk. We tell them it's okay if it doesn't, they know it doesn't make perfect sense with the grammar, but we say, that's okay, just spit it out, just say it, and we'll help you, form your sentence just right. But we want them to talk, talk, talk. Academic language is the language used to read and write, which your child was, of course, using in school. And your child's teacher will support your child by slowly increasing the expectations. So if your child comes in and they speak no English, of course your child's teacher will not expect them to write a paragraph in 5th grade. We would start off with simple sentences, sentence frames, giving them some words and have them provide the rest. And we slowly help them build up to the expectation. We encourage our students to just constantly read, write, and practice new vocabulary. And also, students who read and write in their home language have been proven to learn English much faster. So we really encourage you to continue having your child study in their home language and all the after-school programs I know so many of our kids are enrolled in. And academic language takes a lot longer to develop. It can take about 5 to 7 years. Every child's different. So sometimes parents are confused. They see their child speaking with friends, with peers, and you're speaking, you can talk in English, but there's a disconnect when it comes to reading and writing. That's perfectly normal and developmentally average. The next part I wanted to talk about is the CELT test. And I know some of your children have taken the CELT test, which is the California English Language Development Test. And it can be a little scary if your child comes home and says, an adult pulled me out during class and they asked me a lot of questions. So I wanted to explain what the SELT test is. It's required by the state of California. And if you have registered your child as speaking a different language other than English, they have to take the SELT test. The SELT test tests the students in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And the students are scored in 5 levels: beginning, early intermediate, early advanced, and advanced. The test is not given by your child's teacher. It is a person from the district office, and they come in and they pull students and test them. And it's important to know that this is not a grade on their report card. This is just one way for the district to measure their progress. And it's not a score on the report card. It's communicated with the teachers, but the teachers use it just as a reference. We know how your child is progressing. And there's no need to study or prepare for this test. Just allow your child to perform at their current level so we continue naturally monitoring their progress. So in the classroom, I know I have many parents who come to me, especially on the first day, and they say, my child speaks no English. What are you going to do? And we're going to talk about what service your child receives as an English learner. On the CELT, if your student scores a 1, 2, or 3, so beginning, intermediate, early intermediate, then they're given 30 minutes of instruction at their level a day. Every grade level does a little differently. In first grade, I can speak from experience, all the students are doing an activity, and the teachers take all the students who scored a level 1 in a group, level 2s, and level 3s, and work with them. But every student is doing an academic task at the time, but the teacher is working in a small group to help them with vocabulary, reading, and other resources to help them throughout the day, especially with grammar and writing. And outside those 30 minutes, your child's teacher will support your child in every activity, every lesson, by supporting their English development. I wanted to share a list of some teaching strategies that your child's teacher may use to help your child develop English. The first one is giving think time. So that means that when we ask your child a question, we know that they need time to think of the question, translate it in their head, answer it, translate it back into English, and then answer the teacher. That is a very difficult thing to do, and we are very aware of that. So we're all committed to giving think time, letting your student think, and letting them have time to really process so they can give an answer. Another strategy is giving short instructions with simple commands or vocabulary, such instead of, if you were speaking to an English learner, you might say, put your backpack away, sit down and get some water. With an English learner, you might say, put your backpack away, you point to the hooks, sit down, you point to the desk, giving them short instructions to process and follow. Another strategy, especially in the older grades, 4th and 5th, is explaining the vocabulary before the lesson, especially for science and social studies where the vocabulary words can be confusing. That's a lot of the ELD time. The 30 minutes a day that your child receives, they do a lot of vocabulary for science and social studies to prepare them for the upcoming lesson. Another strategy is to check in with our kids. We're always checking in, one-on-one. Are you doing okay? Does this make sense? Repeating instructions, always keeping a special eye on them. We use lots of visuals, especially in the lower grades, but across the school, so your student doesn't always have to rely on the words. They can use pictures. And then above all, positive encouragement. Learning English is a very difficult thing to do, and your child needs time and support, and we are here to support them all the time. Here are some resources. As I said, this will be uploaded, but if you wanted to take a picture, the first 3 are some websites. I'll step out. The first 3 are some websites where your child can hear a book and read it at the same time, which is a great way for them to connect the audio with the visual words. Starfall especially is great for the younger kids or kids who are learning their ABCs in English. And the last two, Raz Kids and MobyMax, those are district-provided programs, and your child's teacher will send out that information within the next few weeks. Raz Kids is a leveled reading program, so your child goes through each level as they progress and includes questions and comprehension. And MobyMax is another leveled instruction program on all subjects. It has math, social studies, writing, science. So all the information for Raz Kids and MobyMax will come home from your child's teacher in the next few weeks. So I know I ran through this a little fast, but I wanted to leave time for questions before you have to go to your child's back to school night presentation. I do have a short survey that you can take another time. It's just for me to have feedback on what was helpful, what questions do you still have, and you are more than welcome to email me anytime, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Some questions might be specific to your child's teacher or classroom, but if you have a general question about developing and learning English, I'm happy to talk to you about it. Just reach out to me. Are there any questions? I know it's a lot to process. Yeah, are there any questions? Or we can have Mr. Jackson. Yes?
So some of we were given access to the Rosetta Stone.
Oh, yes. You were given it last year?
Yeah, it was in the middle of summer.
That's a great question. Mr. Jackson, will we still have Rosetta Stone?
Yeah, so it ended in June, so we would have to submit names again, which we will make sure that we'll do next week. So we have to submit those names so those accounts can be activated.
Any other questions?
Is there a need to track the progress of the kids?
In their English development? I think that is a question you'll have to talk to your child's teacher about. When it's going to take a few weeks, especially for English learners to settle in and become more comfortable even speaking out at conferences in October, in the first and second week of October. Your child's teacher can definitely give you more information and share how they track their progress. For example, first grade does use a picture assessment to see their vocabulary and grammar skills. So that's one way first grade monitors their progress. But other than that, it's a little specific to the teacher.
So also with the systematic ELD curriculum, there's assessments in there. So as teachers are going through, they're learning about the students, like if they have a focus about using a strategy about asking questions about an object, what is this object, and learning really about those particular question strategies, then they're able to assess that, and that kind of drives them as, oh, okay, these guys are getting it, these guys need more practice throughout the curriculum.
Okay. Mr. Jackson, did you have something to say?
Always.
Always.
Always. I have to capture audience. Always. So I just want to chime in. So please ask questions along the way, right? And send emails to your teachers or to us. We want to make sure that your children are making progress quickly. So the data has shown for our school that students that go to the ELD program, advance from level 1 to level 3 by the end of the year. Sometimes it's 1 and 2, but it's 3. And then on level 4 and 5 this year, we're going to give them support, even though they are somewhat fluent in English. We want to take them to the next level. So that's something we're going to try to push this year. So along the way, do not hesitate or feel nervous to go to your teacher and ask, how can you better support my child so they can learn English? Any questions? No, we only can do it with one hand. There we go.
Yeah, so in my daughter's preschool year, she had a bunch of reading homework, but sometimes I help to reading, but I have strong Japanese accent and sometimes hesitate to read it for her because she maybe might learn bad pronunciation. But do you guys have any suggestion to give more better reading experience for her?
That is a great point, and something that a lot of parents say, that they're hesitant to help their child with their English homework because they feel that they can't support them, especially with pronunciation. We encourage you to always work with your child. The pronunciation is okay however your child's accent is, or it will fluctuate, it will change as they are surrounded by their English-speaking peers. We want you to feel confident that you are your child's biggest advocate and resource, and we encourage you to be with them and helping them, and we'll support them in school if a little tweak needs to be made with pronouncing a word, but we absolutely encourage you to work with them. Yeah.
Right, so I add to that, it's also helping your child to understand the meaning of the word. So if you have to say it in your language so they understand in English, it's fine. And we will handle the rest.
And those websites that I showed you earlier, that's a really good way to model typical English pronunciation, even though everyone has different accents. Especially starfall.com, it is very clear on how it pronounces the word and lets the child repeat back. Raz Kids has a listening portion where the child can speak and record and hear themselves back, which is a very powerful tool. So there's lots of different resources for that. All right, well, I will be here until another 6-7 minutes before my back to school night presentation. So if you'd like to come out to me one-on-one, I'm happy to answer any questions. Other than that, I know your child's teacher will soon be ready for you at 6 o'clock for first, second, and third, and fourth and fifth will be ready at 6.